Welcome back to the Gilbertson Airplane Factory. Today is Thursday, the 16th of March. Yesterday was all about the left elevator. Starting the day yesterday, the elevator skin had already had the stiffeners attached and bent, and the access plate holder, whatever you want to call it, already riveted in place. That part was done. Everything else needed to be done. So we got it all clecoed together, fitted together, match drilled, all that sort of thing. Was able to do the prep, edge finishing, deburring, priming, whatnot. That stuff sat all night. Today we're going to continue on the left elevator, and it's a lot of little details. I won't be able to finish it up today. Before we get into riveting this all together, I still do have to go through and do all the dimpling, some machine countersinking. This is the spar for the trim tab assembly. Dimple the skin, and probably hard to see where you're at right here, but there are two little tabs right here and right here that need to be bent, overlapping to close out that section of the left elevator. The trim tab assembly will fill in this right here. So my goal today is to get all the parts prep done, dimpling, countersinking, etc., and the bending done. If I finish all of that and I still have some time left, then I'll go ahead and start riveting the skeleton together and consider riveting this together. That'll probably wait until tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'll be able to, I think, completely finish it, including building the trim tab assembly, doing the similar bending action that has to be done here. So I'll get the GoPro going and we'll see how far we get. Stay tuned.
Lots of visual obstruction in this video, so I apologize for that. This day wasn't a complete success, nor was it a complete failure. Really two or three things worth talking about, and as they come up in the video, I'll sort of stop the time lapse for a moment and use some images to explain what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm just doing all the dimpling and machine countersinking and all that business. This spar for the trim tab needs to be countersunk because on the bottom of it will be mounted a piano hinge that mounts the trim tab, and so you don't want to have to try to dimple the piano hinge. That went pretty well. And for whatever reason, I think, man, I got some time here. I'm going to try to get into bending out those little tabs that I described in the beginning that close out the outboard section of the elevator, and that's where we run into trouble for the first time. Actually, before that, you'll see me flip it over and start working on riveting the nut plates to the trim motor access panel, port, whatever you want to call it. And I had some trouble there. These are really small nut plates, and they're mounted with flush rivets. And I tried to dimple one of those little steel nut plates, and it really deforms it, and it comes out crappy. And you saw me taking a picture of it and then talking to a friend of mine, looking up on Van's Air Force, and then asking somebody else for some assistance with it. And here's what I learned. If you have something like that that's really it's small material and nearly impossible to dimple, you can use this type of deburring tool, which I didn't have at the time and I have now, and give it a few turns, and this will actually countersink a thin piece of material. So if you need to countersink a thinner piece of skin, just a few turns with that will get you what you need, or in this case, the nut plates. It really isn't that important. They stand up a little bit, but this isn't structural, so this isn't really a problem that they are sort of offset. It just doesn't look the way that I want it to. So that was that. But yeah, moving on from here, I'm just going to leave the airline hanging in front of the camera. This is sped up 100 times, which means that thing was probably there for half an hour or more. On the far end over there, looks like I was back riveting something, maybe the nut plates. There might have been a couple of the nut plates that I couldn't reach with the squeezer. Now I'm fitting in the trim tab spar, and this little contraption you see me making is the block for bending the tabs. And this is where it gets messy and there's lots of visual obstruction. You have to create this sort of interlocking block, you see the tab detail. So the two tabs will fold over each other. And you create this block so that it sandwiches the two pieces, and then you can fold the tabs over it and then use a flesh set on the rivet gun to sort of hammer that thing flat. The trouble that I had basically stems from having a difficult time drawing the line and then wrestling with the double-sided tape, because those blocks have double-sided tape on both sides, and trying to get that stuff in there cleanly is difficult. So you can see me working on here, and when it's sped up really quickly, it looks like it's a success. But I'll show you a picture here, and you could see that it wasn't. The block slipped inward, causing it to overbend and creating that nasty pinch at the trailing edge that would definitely lead to a crack. So the next day I will work on fixing that. What you see me doing here is just finishing up the dimpling around the outside of the left elevator to prepare it for the next day's work, and getting the spar ready. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.